Drabu clarifying that J&K will be a part of the GST. They will move suitable legislation through their assembly and do it before the 1st of July timeline. Well, joining us now, of course, the spokesperson of the BJP, Mr. Islam. Thanks very much for joining us. Also with us, the former CBEC chief, Mr. Mazumdar, and Sanjay Jha. Zafar Islam, it is a big day, but this is a victory for Team India, if I could call it that, because the GST Council is a conglomeration of representatives from various states, and they've worked tirelessly to ensure that these legislations have made it through the budget session of Parliament. You know, would you say that this is a victory for Team India?
Indeed, Shireen, it's a historic day, and credit goes to all the parliamentarians, irrespective whether they are part of the Treasury bench or the opposition. I must compliment Sanjay Jha and the principal opposition party, Congress, for the support they have provided in passing this legislation, and all the opposition parties, because their constructive approach, their contribution, their support has actually made us see the day today. We are seeing that this law will become a rule, will become a law going forward, and the Team India will benefit, the country will benefit, and the credit goes to everyone, irrespective of which party they belong, but the credit goes to all the parliamentarians, and we will not take away the credit from them. Sanjay Jha repeatedly takes that they were the one who actually introduced. We are not taking away that credit also that you had introduced, but you failed to pass this legislation. Today we are together, we have been able to pass this legislation, and we share the credit for passing this legislation, because it's a historic day, and all the political parties deserve to be appreciated, deserve to be praised for giving support, extending support to the government of India.
Absolutely, and I don't think today is a day to quibble or argue about who gets credit. This was a bill that was first moved by the Congress party. So Sanjay Jha, congratulations to you as well. 7 of your finance ministers were part of the GST Council meetings. The GST Council is the body that has recommended what has now gone into the legislation. So it is a big day as far as the federal structure of the country is concerned, Sanjay.
Sharon, let me tell you, I mean, this is a historic tax reform. You know, when the Congress party, initially constructed the architecture of the GST bill, we knew that it will have a long-term structural impact on the economy, because it reduces a lot of tax, kind of inefficiencies, will result in hopefully higher production and end-of-day consumer gains. I mean, end-of-day, the economy needs to become a lot more progressive and transparent. So I think the GST bill, it got obstructed for a long time. I can't help but say that if Zafar's party had supported us, it would have got passed before 2014. But better late than never. I think the one point that obviously concerns us even now is going to be about how it's executed and implemented going forward. And the fact that because it's a regressive indirect tax, I think we need to still worry about, how we're going to define certain goods coming into the luxury goods category and so on and so forth.
Absolutely, but let's get in voices from India Inc. now, and India Inc. says they're ready to adopt the landmark tax legislation. Here's the RPG Group Chairman Harsh Goenka and Ranjit Chani, Managing Director of Novartis, hoping for a flawless execution of the GST.
I clearly make out from talks with them that they're very confident of finally passing the GST bill on the 1st. And today, hardly any political party is opposing the same. After all, it was started with by the Congress party, and now really the BJP has worked very hard to get a common ground. And I do believe that GST will be something which is path-breaking effort. It's going to be difficult right in the beginning, because there could be issues in terms of implementation, in terms of IT, etc.
What would be your expectation in terms of where would you want to be placed as an industry player?
I think every industry wants to be placed at the lowest possible rate of rate of tax, but I think the government, there are wise people in the government to decide what is most appropriate.
Could we see an increased pressure of inflation after the GST rollout?
I do believe that for the short term there will be an increase as far as inflation is concerned, but I think the country's future has to be seen in the medium and long term, and it is definitely going to be to boost the economy in the medium and long term.
I'm very positive. We want execution to be flawless. We have alignment with all the parties.
Do you think India Inc. is prepared for the rollout of GST?
Most companies are, because the fact is this was announced a while ago, and I think not only the companies themselves, but a whole raft of consultants and very specialized people have supported this. You take the big companies, they've prepared for it, they've had dry runs, and I'm quite sure it'll work out. I think the little challenge will be for the SMEs and smaller companies, and they're a bit of hand-holding from associations, whether it's the CII or FICCI or Bombay Chamber, should certainly help.
Well, reactions there coming in from India Inc. But let me go across to the former CBEC chief. Mr. Mazumdar, thanks very much for joining us. What, to your mind, could be the big challenges as far as execution is concerned? There have been some concerns with respect to certain clauses, for instance, the anti-profiteering clause, where the finance minister clarifying that we're only going to be worried about unfair or unjust enrichment. There have been issues with respect to multiple registrations, for instance, for the banking and financial services sector. What, to your mind, needs further clarification from the government?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to point out that this is a unique process that the GST bill has gone through, where you see all the stakeholders, taxpayers, have been consulted from the
Mr.
very
Mazumdar,
beginning.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. We're just being joined by the Finance Minister of Delhi, Manish Sisodia. Mr. Sisodia, thanks very much for joining us here on CNBC TV 18. It's a big day, sir. The GST Council has done its work, and today Parliament has done its work. The bills have been passed by Parliament. In fact, Mr. Jaitley making a specific mention of how you had made a representation to include real estate under the ambit of the goods and services tax. How soon are you going to clear this through the Delhi Assembly, sir?
देखिए, देश के लिए बहुत बड़ा दिन है, बड़ा मौका है ये कि बड़ा टैक्स रिफॉर्म हो रहा है। आज़ाद हिंदुस्तान के इतिहास में मुझे याद नहीं है कि इससे बड़ा कोई टैक्स रिफॉर्म हुआ होगा। लेकिन जैसा कि जेटली साहब ने भी कहा पार्लियामेंट में, और मैं जीएसटी काउंसिल की मीटिंग में भी कहता रहा हूँ कि दो चीज़ों को हमें इसमें ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा। एक तो निटिग्रिटीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, बिकॉज वेगनेस जितना हो जाएगा उतना प्रॉब्लम रहेगी, और एक एक व्यक्ति जो इतने बड़े टैक्स रिफॉर्म से गुजरेगा, अगर व्यापारी का व्यापार ठप हो गया तो शायद ये जीएसटी डिजास्टर ना बन जाए जी। दूसरा, इसलिए बहुत माइन्यूटली डिटेल्स में जाके एक एक चीज को करने की जरूरत है। दूसरा, आपने जिस चीज का जिक्र किया, रियल एस्टेट को लेकर मुझे भी बड़ा शॉकिंग है कि एक तरफ रूलिंग पार्टी देश की बीजेपी बार बार कहती है ब्लैक मनी पे काम करेंगे, हम ब्लैक मनी को कंट्रोल करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन रियल एस्टेट में तो सबसे ज्यादा ब्लैक मनी है। ब्लैक मनी को कंट्रोल करने की जब बारी आई तो हालांकि यूनियन फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर चाहते थे, लेकिन उसके बावजूद बीजेपी के खुद के कई फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर्स अलग अलग राज्यों के उसके खिलाफ हो गए, और मतलब बीजेपी में सहमति नहीं बनी इसकी कि वो रियल एस्टेट की ब्लैक मनी को कंट्रोल करने के लिए जीएसटी लागू करें जी। तो ये एक बड़ा सेटबैक है, और मुझे नहीं लगता कि दुनिया में कहीं भी जहां जहां जीएसटी लागू किया है, हर जगह उन्होंने रियल एस्टेट को इसमें शामिल किया है। प्रॉपर्टी का कारोबार है। सिसोदिया जी, कब आप दिल्ली असेंबली में पारित करेंगे सर एसजीएसटी बिल को? हम तो अभी जैसे अभी पार्लियामेंट में क्लियर हो जाएगा, उसके बाद में विल कॉल ए सेशन ऑफ असेंबली, स्पेशल असेंबली सेशन बुला के हम लोग इसको पास कर देंगे। हमें इसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। हम तो दिल्ली तो इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट एडवोकेट्स फॉर जीएसटी, लेकिन जैसा मैंने कहा कि उससे मेन है कि टैक्स के स्लैब्स, निटिग्रिटीज, प्रोसेसेस असेंबली में पास करना एक फॉर्मेलिटी है। मुझे लगता है सारे राज्य कर देंगे, हम भी कर देंगे एज सून एज पॉसिबल, लेकिन मेन है कि इसकी निटिग्रिटीज में अगर हम नहीं गए तो exactly, Mrs. Sisodia, the next meeting of the GST Council is on the 31st, and I understand that the Council will meet to discuss the rules which have been finalized, and the fitment exercise of rates will start post that. So what is it that you now want addressed in the GST Council meeting on the 31st? देखिए, मैं काउंसिल की मीटिंग में बार-बार कहता रहा हूँ कि ये सारा प्रोसीजर, सारा डिस्कशन ऑफिसर सेंट्रिक रहा है कि ऑफिसर क्या करेगा, एक इंस्पेक्टर होगा, एक कमिश्नर होगा, वो क्या क्या करेंगे और क्या क्या नहीं करेंगे। व्यापारी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बहुत ज्यादा हम लोगों ने मतलब डेलिब्रेशंस नहीं हो पाए हैं, बार बार मैं एडवोकेसी करता था उसका नुकसान ये है, जैसे मैं आपको एक सिंपल से एग्जांपल देता हूँ। एक आदमी, एक मान लीजिए कोई सर्विस प्रोवाइडर है, एडवोकेट है, वो दिल्ली में रजिस्टर्ड है, वो मुंबई में किसी एक कंपनी को सर्विस देने जाता है
जी,
और अब वापस आता है दिल्ली और उसके वो होटल में स्टे करता है, सब कुछ करता है, बाद में इनपुट क्रेडिट जो है, जो मुंबई में खर्चा हुआ, वो दिल्ली से क्लेम करना चाहता है। तो वो कैसे होगा? क्योंकि पे तो उसने वहां किया है, उसका जो डिवीजन होगा जब टैक्स का, वो डिवीजन होकर तो महाराष्ट्र में चला जाएगा। और उससे भी बड़ा एग्जांपल है, फिल्म मेकर्स है, पूरे देश में घूम घूम के फिल्म बनाते हैं। अगर कल को वो इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट लेंगे तो वो सारा महाराष्ट्र सरकार से मांगेंगे
जी,
तो उसमें बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आने वाली है। इसीलिए मतलब मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि ये चीजें सॉल्व नहीं हो सकती हैं, लेकिन अगर इतना माइन्यूटली ध्यान नहीं दिया गया कि एडवोकेट, फिल्म मेकर,
oh, you're absolutely right, sir. The devil is always in the detail, but Manish Sisodia, many thanks for joining us, the Deputy CM and the Finance Minister of Delhi here reacting to Parliament passing the crucial GST legislations. Mr. Mazumdar, sorry I interrupted you, sir. It's a historic day. Take us through now what the focus needs to be on.
Yes, the point I was trying to make is that this process has been going on particularly after the first discussion paper came out in 2009, and every step has been taken in consultation with the taxpayers. Everything was put in the public domain. Feedback was taken from the taxpayers and other stakeholders, and improvement was taking place in every step. When the first business process for a set of business process documents came out in October to November 2015, then based on the feedback, the first model GST law first cut came in June 2016. Then again the feedback came from the stakeholders. Then we got the second cut, that is in November, much improved, and November 2016. Yeah. Now the third cut is the GST bill, and I think it's quite a good one. So point I'm trying to make is that, I don't expect much problem with regard to the implementation of the law, because all where the shoe is likely to be pinch have been pointed out by the trade and industry, and accordingly steps have been taken. Yeah. To my mind, the only challenge is we have to see to it that the GST net is operational at least 2 to 3 months before the implementation date, and there are a few pilot runs, because you see the different states are at different levels of IT ability, different taxpayers are also at different levels of IT ability, and they have to interact through one common portal. So that is the only challenge that I see as of now. And otherwise, it's
unfortunately, I don't know if we have that kind of time,
and
because
I just want to put
1st of July is what the government is working on. Yes, sir, go ahead.
That even if it is in the interest of good implementation, it is delayed to September, I think no big harm will be done. And the other thing I just want to, because a lot of discussions on that one rate and all those things, I want to point out one thing, that even in France, which was the first country to have VAT, and VAT and GST are the same thing, different nomenclature. There, now they have 5 rates. All welfare states, they have this provision. And then the Professor Richard Bird of Canada, who is a pioneer in the VAT and expert in VAT and GST.
You're right, Mr. Mazumdar. Unfortunately, the Revenue Secretary is speaking, sir. Let's just listen in.
पिछले 10 साल से इसकी चर्चा हो रही थी, इसकी डिज़ाइन बन रही थी, इसके कॉन्सेप्ट पेपर बन रहे थे, और कुल मिला के एम्पावर्ड कमेटी जब तक थी तब तक 14 मीटिंग इसी सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर, जीएसटी के ऊपर एम्पावर्ड कमेटी की मीटिंग हुई थी। और जीएसटी काउंसिल बनने के बाद पिछले 6 महीने में 12 मीटिंग जीएसटी काउंसिल की मिली थी। और अगर सिर्फ जीएसटी काउंसिल ने जो इसमें प्रयत्न किया है उसका अगर हिसाब किताब डाला जाए तो करीब करीब 150 ऑफिसर्स एंड जीएसटी काउंसिल के मेंबर्स हर मीटिंग में रहते थे। 12 मीटिंग, कुछ मीटिंग 1 दिन की, कुछ मीटिंग 2 दिन की, तो कुल मिला के 18,000 मैन आवर्स ऑफ वर्क हैज़ गॉन इनटू इट। एंड नॉट ओनली दिस 2 मेन कमिटीज़, एम्पावर्ड कमिटी एंड द जीएसटी काउंसिल, बट इससे पहले काफ़ी अधिकारियों के सब ग्रुप भी बनाए गए थे। देयर वर 30 डिफरेंट वर्किंग ग्रुप, सब ग्रुप्स ऑफ ऑफिसर्स which worked for making of these laws and rules in the past also. And कुल मिला के ऐसे ऑफिसर्स की मीटिंग 175 meetings were held in which state and central government officers worked together for a period of 10 years. And that is how after such effort, इतने बड़े प्रयत्न के बाद ये बिल आज बिल जो है वो पास हो गए हैं, उसकी हमें बड़ी खुशी है। मैं आपके मीडिया के माध्यम से जीएसटी काउंसिल के सभी मेंबर्स को और स्टेट और सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के सभी ऑफिसर्स जिन्होंने ये लॉ बनाने में हमारी मदद की है, उन सब का आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूँ, उन सबको बधाई देना चाहता हूँ। और मुझे खुशी इस बात की है कि एक ऐसा क्लीन टैक्स प्रणाली जो कि बहुत साल से जिसकी देश को प्रतीक्षा थी, वो अब तुरंत ही देश को मिल जाएगा। अभी मैं एक इंग्लिश में दे दूँ? हाँ सर, प्लीज। ओके। I would like to express our happiness at passing of the 4 laws relating to GST by the Lok Sabha today. These laws are not made in a short period. A hard work of 10 years has gone into it. The earlier version of GST Council, which was an empowered committee, had 14 meetings on GST and 14, and after that the GST Council had 12 meetings of GST on this. About 30 working groups and subgroups of officers, even before the constitutional amendment bill was passed, worked for making of these laws and rules, and about 175 officers meeting took place also for formulation.
And its consideration, and we seem to be well within time while doing that. As it is day after tomorrow on the 31st, the other subordinate legislations will also be considered by the GST Council. And once that is approved, then the principal task that remains is fixation of tariff against every commodity, for which a formula has already been devised. So I would say this is a very important step forward, and I'm reasonably optimistic about meeting the deadlines. देखिए, आज एक प्रकार से हम लोगों ने इतिहास बनते हुए देखा है संसद में, क्योंकि जो पिछले 70 साल से चल रही थी एक टैक्स व्यवस्था, उसकी एक वैकल्पिक व्यवस्था के 4 कानून लोकसभा ने पारित किए हैं, और ये पारित होना एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण कदम है उस दिशा में। अभी राज्यसभा में जाएंगे और राज्यसभा के पश्चात ये कानून बनेंगे। सीजीएसटी लॉ का एक मिरर इमेज लॉ राज्यों को बनाना पड़ेगा। जो राज्यों को अधिकार मिल जाएगा वो अपनी विधानसभाओं में उसको लेकर मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि वो पारित होगा, और जो हमारी डेडलाइन है उसके मुताबिक हम लोग आगे चल रहे हैं। परसों 31 तारीख को जितने भी कानून हैं, बायलॉज हैं, उनको हम लोग कंप्लीट करेंगे, रेगुलेशंस को, और उसके बाद हर वस्तु के ऊपर कितना टैक्स लगेगा और वो किस टैक्स ब्रैकेट में आती है उसके फिटमेंट का काम जीएसटी काउंसिल करेगी। आइडियल जीएसटी बिल और थैंक यू।
The finance minister there saying it's a historic day for India, and it most certainly is. Well, that was the action in the Lok Sabha, but there was also plenty of action in the Rajya Sabha, where crucial amendments moved by the opposition have now been adopted in the finance bill. This is symbolic, essentially, because the Lok Sabha will probably just return the bill as is without taking those amendments into consideration. But it is an embarrassment for the government. Let's just quickly get in a word in from Syed Zafar Islam, spokesperson of the BJP, as well as Sanjay Jha. Sanjay, so, amendments moved by certain members of your party, like Digvijay Singh, being adopted with respect to the finance bill. So certainly symbolically, it's a victory for the opposition in the Rajya Sabha at least.
Something, Shireen, I think the way certain items were incorporated into the finance bill I mean, right down from Aadhaar down to the merging of tribunals, giving absolutely unfettered powers to the income tax to come and hound people. It's like the return of tax terrorism, the very opaqueness in political funding. I mean, these are matters that ought to have been debated publicly, televised for the people of India to see. I think the government of Mr. Modi has been very paranoid, and I think people of this country should be concerned as to why was the government reluctant to share and, kind of debate this publicly and accept the changes in the Raj Sabha. After all, the Raj Sabha is also representatives of the people of India, even if they are indirectly elected. So I think somewhere down the line, a very autocratic, dictatorial propensity of this government stands exposed. And I do hope that the media will discuss the issues, because I think end of day, there are a lot of apprehensions, very genuine worries for civil society, for corporate world, I think for political opposition, whistleblowers and activists to be concerned about.
Zafar Islam, a quick word from you before we take a break.
Shireen, see, we are a disciplined party. Our government definitely gives a lot of impetus and support we take from the principal opposition parties and opposition and their views. We do not discard their views at all. If they are making some suggestion which is in the interest of the nation, which we think that it's good to be adopted, and we will always welcome. But unfortunately, the principal opposition parties has not played the role constructively in many times, and they are always critical about our honorable Prime Minister. The way they keep speaking about the finance minister, the other ministers, is something which we do not want to pay attention to. We were focused about our work. We are focused about what needs to be delivered. We are concerned about the delivery.
The amendments had nothing to do. The amendments had nothing to do with individuals. The amendments were pertaining to issues that were brought into the finance bill, Zafar Islam. But today is perhaps not the day to talk about that in detail. We will get back with the two of you. Today, of course, belongs to the GST. But for now, many thanks for joining.